And welcome to another Valve Bounce stream slash video. How are you, Steve?
I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Good, thanks. Good. Doing this on a Tuesday
We
because
are.
we realise that some of us have got things to do on the Wednesday, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
True.
And you know, I'm also going away on the Thursday, so
Yeah.
it's probably easier to do it Tuesday this week. But I
Yeah.
guess we'll resume our Wednesday evenings probably in 2 weeks' time. Hey, Damo.
Might be worthwhile given that you are going away. So, yeah, we might just let you know now. There'll be a week break and then we'll be back in force on the Wednesday. So, yeah, looking
That's
forward
it.
to it.
Awesome. So, what's news, mate? What's going on?
Well, what is going on? Well, we did our first stream last week, and that was a lot about the 24 season, the kind of parts that we missed. And so I thought, yeah, maybe tonight, as we brainstorm together, it'll be a good idea for us to go over 2025 and some of the key things and things that have been happening.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, mate. A very good idea. There has been a few things sort of happening in the world of supercars, as I saw.
Yep.
There was some nice restorations of the DJR EB2 and EB3 that did the rounds.
Don't get me too excited too early, okay?
Don't
get me too
a
excited.
good-looking car, man. They were a good-looking car, the old EB.
Look, I've got my rose-tinted glasses on, and I do love the old V8s, the early V8s. That was just prime time for us in terms of our age and going to the track and experiencing stuff. So yeah, it was good to see.
Well, that was it. I mean, for me, I don't know about you. I don't know if Dad ever took you to a race before we went to Phillip Island in '93. Or was that your first as well?
I think it was my first as well.
As well?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's literally the year, the same cars that we saw race around the track for the first time. So pretty bloody special, if you ask me. And the fact that they got John Bow back in the car to drive it around was pretty special, I thought.
Yes, yeah. Just a shame he suffered that injury, couldn't drive it at Canberra at the what do they call it, the festival speed they have in Canberra. But yeah, it was good for that video. And if you haven't seen it, we'll show you that a bit later on where you can find that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. No, it was a really good thing to see those cars back up and about. Hopefully we get a few more of those older cars coming through the system. Actually, a segue, I didn't actually put this in, but I found a video earlier of FTR03 being rebuilt.
Really?
So I actually forgot about that just until right then. So sorry, David, you've got nothing to go on. I've thrown it at you. But yeah, no.
Yes, you have.
But yeah, there's someone bringing it back to life. There's actually a YouTube channel. I can't remember what it's called now. But go and check that out if you have a chance.
Yeah.
Because that'll be very cool. So I think it's going to go back to the O2 livery.
Okay.
Because it ended up being David Bernard's last car when it was FPR.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're converting it back to an AU spec, and yeah, it looks like the O2 livery might come up. So that'll be cool.
Very nice, very nice. Yes, well, I was looking. That looks like that chassis went through a few iterations, but yeah, through the AU time frame. But yeah, that bright blue and the Ford credit maybe even was the last one of that livery. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And speaking of liveries and old cars, mate, we've had a livery reveal.
We have, and. We need to. I'm gonna. Let me see. This is gonna work, right? So I'm gonna click this button.
Totally.
Hey, and I can see it in our screen, so it'll hit nicely. Yeah, this is the Cam Hill car, and yeah, it's a reveal. It's a reveal. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. I feel like it's a backwards step slightly. It's a little bit blander than what it is. But then, you know what? I saw Shane's NASCAR, and that's pretty bland. So maybe we're just a year of the bland for liveries. Hopefully not. But
you did stir up a little bit. There was a few people that took exception, and, you put some comments out that was a reasonably, pretty boring, compared to some of the WeatherTech and the quad lock stuff he'd had. And You
Yeah.
know, it just looks like a pretty bog standard RBR kind of Red Bull
Livery?
racing, whether it's F1 or it's supercars, they're all pretty much the same. And yeah, it's just like it was interesting, but yeah, definitely stirred up a few emotions in those comments.
Oh, I didn't mean to, but
No.
people get butthurt about these things. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think Red Bull's really come up with anything good since about 2012.
Yeah.
So they sort of went, they just went really corporate, and then it just got really boring.
Yeah, they're very limited in what they can do with some of that corporate,
That's it.
stuff, and it's a shame because it really dictates or it really squashes a lot of that kind of look and feel of what could be possible. Instead, we kind of get that copy and paste each year with slight tweaks here and there. So but I mean, this car, black and white's always a good combo. They got some nice red highlights, so it does kind of looks good. I think it's it's a solid, in my opinion. It's like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the first of many. So on that, I've got the website open. I'll just run through quickly some of those livery release dates. So obviously, Matt Stone Racing, the Cameron Hill car, was January 25th. The next one we have coming up is Tickford Racing. That's on the 31st of January.
So whose one's that? Is that
55? So that
be
is Randall's. So we expect that to be relatively similar with the Castrol livery. Continuing on is what we've heard. February 6th is Shell V-Power, both cars. So that's good. There is notably a TBC on the number for Brody's car. So yeah, we'll wait and see what appears on the doors there. Erebus is Feb 8th. Then Feb 11th is Matt Stone Racing. So I've got the number 10 and number 35, which is I think the wild card car that they've got launching as well.
Yep.
WAU on February 11th. So, looking forward to that. Both cars at the same time. So 2 and 25. That'll be one to wait for. Awesome. Next day we've got February 12th, which is Team 18 for both cars. February 13th is Blanchard with 3 and number 7. We've got the number 6 Tickford car on. It says February 14th or 15th. So maybe it's just. Sorry, that was Red Bull. Sorry, the 14th. The Red Bull one is 14th or 15th, which I found it's like maybe the most organised team can't organise the dates. I don't know. There must be a reason behind why they've hedged that date. So
maybe the split of the two. So one being for the actual main team, and then that what do you call it?
Wild card.
Brain. Wild card. Thank you. What is going on? I busted my shoulder, not my brain. Apparently, I busted my brain.
Yeah. Weren't you? A little segue or side story there that Steve went go karting. And now definitely realizes how old he is because some lackeys in front that you were trying to lap for I think the second or third time crashed in front of you and you had nowhere to go. So. Now you're sporting, not wearing the sling, but you have a sling that you're wearing.
I do have a sling that I'm wearing, but I'm pretty lazy with it. But the problem is, I actually, for the first time, because, when I go go-karting, and this is not a rev up for me, but I generally sort of drive away from our mates. So to go to a Bucks party and actually have one guy who is competitive, an ex-racer, Vince, shout out Vince, if you happen to watch. We had a ding-dong battle, and we actually went, to and fro. I got him ahead of him, and then he got me back, and then I mugged him. And we were having a great time right up until the point that I had 4 moopeds have an accident in front of me. And that's a lot of pain. I will tell you, it was a lot of pain. But I'll be okay. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
I derailed it because you mentioned something and I brought it up. But it's not like the usual crew that when we all go, when we go racing, there's a few of us that are kind of up there. I've definitely pegged back a little in my old age.
You're getting older now.
I know. Well, so are you. So I know you're not catching me yet, but all right. And then the last couple we've got is Penrite Racing, which will be on February 15th. Premiere on 17th of February. And Brad Jones Racing is the only one that hasn't announced a date as yet. So
So they'll launch when they go testing at the end of Feb.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Probably.
Looks that way. So,
Okay.
so yeah, that's kind of the launch of the liveries, and it's something that it's always exciting. It's always
Yeah.
exciting there. Just to go back, this is the article on the Supercars website where you can see and watch the video. It's also on YouTube with the EBs going around Pheasant Hill in Sydney, and talks a little bit about the restoration of those and John Bow and Dick being out there. So, yeah, find it on the Supercars website or on YouTube under their channel if you need it.
Definitely.
Right.
Don't do it now. Just keep watching.
Oh, good point. Good point. Good point. All right.
Along with livery, since we're still on that topic, Damo, they've announced a rule change with liveries for the year.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Just to, I guess, differentiate, I think it was the word that they used.
Yeah, so back to the old school where the banners might get a tweak where they have like the fluoro green or whatever the teams want to do to differentiate the two cars if they've got the same livery. Yeah, it's mandatory now.
Yeah. I think it obviously it was potentially in there as a rule, and because no one was kind of adhering to it, they've decided to make it so. And I guess it kind of impacts not all the cars, but typically obviously Red Bull and Shell, majority of those two are pretty similar. And then you have got some others back in the field where they've got the same liveries and just having something to differentiate. But a good portion, maybe I think it's half of the field, are really all in different liveries. So for them, it's no impact. But yeah, some of the other teams, they'll just have to make a small tweak with some stickers, I suggest.
Yeah, well, that's it. Just a small little tweak so we can tell them apart.
Yes. Or the normies can. Yeah.
Yeah, or the normies can. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So just on that, who are you looking forward to the most, like in terms of livery?
Who am I looking forward to the most? Now, I'll give you something a bit out of left field because I think it will be year on year. There should be a bigger change.
Okay.
And I would suggest that probably the Matt Stone Racing stuff, the two cars, I know the first one was not too dissimilar, but I would expect them to be a little bit different. But I think, like, when I look at it, Team 18, I think, is probably going to be the biggest change year on year. Just because of you've got DeWalt, I think it's sponsoring Anton. We'll go back to some of the older, all the change of livery there. But everyone else is really just, as far as we know, right at this point, it's status quo for sponsors. It's status quo. So they're all going to be small tweaks. The Red Bull cars are not going to be changed much. Monster Cam's car is going to be pretty much the same as it has been for years.
Given.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's a surprise packet from like a Penrite, or I don't know, Brad Jones or an Erebus. I don't really see too much change in the field.
Have heard a rumor that the DJR cars are going to get a bigger tweak than we think. Don't know if it's going to be big.
How many years has it been?
Than we think.
How many years has it been?
Since Scotty turned up, which is what, 2017?
Yeah.
So if they get a tweak, that'll a good tweak, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well,
yeah.
Let's hope the rumors are true, because we definitely need it, because it's been pretty stale.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah.
I used to love waiting for all the liveries to come out because they were always really different, really new, really fresh.
Yep.
But the last few years, it's been like,
You're like, whatever. Yep. Same.
Move on.
Beautiful. Well, I guess that kind of takes us into another segment of top 3 things that we're looking forward to or to watch out for.
We missed something.
Did we?
We missed.
Did I scroll too far in the note sheet? Yeah. What did we miss?
Actually, I think I skipped it because I think I quickly went to the liveries too early. I went early.
It's all his fault. Actually, and we will just, I'll scan while you're doing that. I'm going
Yeah.
to scan the chat just to see if there's a few people chatting just to see what's going on there.
Oh, that's cool. Welcome everybody. First and foremost, yeah. Look, there's been a bit of news about the actual chassis of the Erebus and DJR cars. So, Supercars have inspected these chassis and ordered them to stop TIG welding them.
Yes, in
So
certain
now
places, yeah.
Yeah, so all chassis now have to be MIG welded, not TIG welded, which was a slight difference to everyone else, I guess. So I don't know if it's going to be the advantage that everyone was talking about with these chassis, but it is interesting nonetheless that they were TIG welded versus MIG. I mean, I don't know too much about welding, but there must be some sort of benefit if the preference is to go that way.
Yeah, well, it's like thinner, slightly thinner welds, and I think in some of those key points, they want MIG welds because it's a stronger bond, it's a thicker weld. So, I mean, if you're talking about weight saving, you know,
marginal.
Yeah, could probably go to the toilet before you go for a drive, and you'd save, just as much or less weight. So, but yeah, it was interesting because clearly that was something that whatever other benefits or things that we perhaps haven't found out about, there was obviously making those Erebus cars in the early days quite fast, and it was also, now that we've kind of expanded it across, DJR will have those, and a few others apparently might have caught on from some whispers. So yeah, it was an interesting one that came out that might I say, sparked some very interesting comments. So if you ever want to just explode your brain with some people giving some really good insights, I think I stopped at one of them where it was clear they made a comment, had not read any of the article at all, and just went straight into like labeling people as cheats, etc. And it's just like, I think two comments in a row straight after was like, you haven't even read the article. It's like, oh my God, like, come on, just chill out, people. Just chill out a little bit. Yeah. But
we are very much a culture now whereby if somebody's done something different, that's cheating. Yeah. It comes up so many times, just like F1.
Yep.
So it's always good for a read if you ever want to be entertained or if you want to stir the pot.
And I think that's the main thing, is that the headlines are always the things that try and grab the attention. If you don't read past the headline, you're going to struggle interpreting. So, yes, that was a good one that we did miss. Yes, all good.
All right.
Right. Oh. Now, I guess, in the chat, we've got a few people, but yeah, nothing too major. So hopefully everyone's doing well out there.
Thanks for tuning in.
Things talking about, about dominant Red Bull might be, but DJA might give it to them this year. Chaz winning this year potentially. Well, we'd like that.
That'd be lovely. Yes, please. I'll take that, please. Bathurst. We're at the Bend for the 500 this year, so Bathurst, the Bend, and the championship. That's all I need. That's all I need. I don't ask for much.
Okay. Well, yeah, you don't. But I mean, I'm just had that thought of how boring it's going to be to watch the Bend. It's such a great track to race. Mate. You can talk to it, but the way the TV works is not the greatest. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to work on angles. Yeah. I think at that joint, because it is a spectacular track to drive.
Yeah.
But they just need to work on the angles, I think, and getting it right. Hopefully it's not a snooze fest. I mean, we haven't had Gen 3 there yet, so it might be different.
Very true.
To the way Gen 2 cars worked, and who knows, eh? Actually, that was another thing which I didn't actually put in there. Did I note that there was a change to how much fuel they're going to be able to run? Not quite as much fuel this year.
Yeah, something had dropped down to 118 litres, I think I read. Off the top of my head, some like 130 or something. Yeah, so that will change a little bit of the strategy, I guess, because it's going to obviously bring forward, I would assume what they're trying to do, especially at Bathurst, is that last run, you're going to have to be, what is it, normally 30 laps to go is kind of like the fuel window, like 27 to 30, people start trying to squeeze it out. And if you've got
generally.
a smaller tank, that's going to push into like your 20 to 25 region, depending on how the fuel burn goes. So that will, possibly shake up the last part of that race.
Hopefully mean that they can actually push on a little bit harder too, without obliterating tires, because the stint's not as long. But
Let's
you know,
get the
we'll
excitement
see.
up, eh?
Yeah, it's going to be a good year, peeps. Come on,
We're
get on
good.
board.
We're good. All right. Now let's now go to the top 3 things to watch out for or to look for in 2025 in Supercars. Steve,
Yeah. All right.
tell me what you're thinking.
So for me, I'll be really interested. Now, Chaz is our driver. Now, we love him to bits, but obviously that team is going to be going through a bit, because they've got to develop the Supra, and they've got to concentrate on a championship in Bathurst and everything else. So I'll be interested to see how they juggle that, and whether they can handle that. We've seen like the likes of DJR through the Gen 3 era, where they're trying to homologate stuff that they lost their way.
Yep.
And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope for our sake it doesn't happen.
Yep.
But yeah, like I'll be really interested to see how they juggle the championship as well as what's coming for them for the next year.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll be interested to see is the rookies. We've obviously got Cooper Murray and Kai Allen. Kai Allen's the one that I'm interested in the most, not just because he's in a Ford. Don't come at me in the comments. But the fact, because he had big hype around him through the Super 3 series, which he won, and then he went straight into Super 2 and won. I know he didn't get the championship in 2024, but really it was less about him and more about car failure than anything else.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see how he fares against Matt Payne, because Matt Payne, as we know, is a very quick driver.
Yep.
And it'll also be interesting to see how Penwright make a step in being more consistent as well. So yeah, I'll just be interested to see how he goes. And the last thing that I'm really intrigued on is Brody.
Brody, of course.
Like, how fast can he turn DJR around?
Yeah.
That is the question. We know he's fast enough. We know his brain is very, very good engineer-wise. So how fast can he switch that team on?
I think that's that one in itself is going to be a big one. Just they made a lot of management changes in that team, bringing Brody in. There's changes to the chassis, who they're supplying the chassis. There's a lot going on, and much like WAU, they've got so much on for next year. WAU, how do they all focus and kind of get it all happening in that 2025 season? So yeah, some good call outs there. Things to watch. Very good.
What about you, Damo? What are you looking forward to watching this year, and what do you think are going to be some interesting things we should keep an eye on?
Well, like they say in the classics, Red Bull teammates. It was a bit of a talking point this year, and I think we, maybe you for a little bit more biased reasons than I, but we kind of picked that Will Brown was just going to take that reign in when he went there.
Yep.
Just obviously a class act driver. And this year it's a big year for Brock, because if he can show his potential, but also like deliver on some of the skills he's got, it's going to make it for a very interesting. They're going to be taking points off each other, against some of the other drivers. But if he doesn't, then there might start to be those questions of, can he ever do it? Can he get over it? Where's the potential gone? So I think this year could be a big one for Brock, just to make sure that he can do it. Now, the new final system for the championship. I think obviously we have to watch it. It's the first year we're going to go through it. I think let's hope it does the right things and we don't get too much of the negative side effects from it. But, in terms of a spectacle, in terms of them trying something, as we mentioned last video, quite happy and looking forward to seeing that. So that's good. Now, Tickford is the other one. So can they actually start the year a bit stronger than they normally do, and perhaps a bit of that frosty magic dust, fairy dust, can he bring another Bathurst victory back to Tickford? Because him and Cam are teaming up. So that's going to be one that I think to watch for the Enduros. But yeah, it'll depend a lot on how they've gone early in the season.
I think that's a pretty good shout. And I'll start off about the Frosty thing because I'd actually forgotten how bad. I'd actually forgotten that he was teaming up with Cam.
Yeah.
I think that's a good shout. I think they'll be very strong. But you're right. Can they start the year the right way? Because I don't remember the last time Tickford actually started the year the right way.
Yeah. Yep.
It's often been slow and then they've had to try and come back, and it doesn't work. You need to get on the front foot. As for the Red Bull teammates, yes, I agree. It's a big year for Brock.
Yeah.
He definitely needs. He has potential, but you know who I liken him to? I've been thinking about this.
Oh yeah.
Bit of a Murph.
Oh, bit of a Murph.
Few track wonder.
Yeah. Just specific
Like
tracks.
Very good at specific tracks.
Yeah.
But can't always get it together. So look, that he might prove me wrong. Obviously for his sake, he'll hope that he proves me wrong. For my sake, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes out. And yeah, the final system, mate. I think we need to all be very calm and not go off too early if it doesn't go the way we think it should go or anything like that. It is the first year that we're running this. Let's give them a little bit of leeway. I'm sure there'll be adjustments in the coming years as they learn. So I reckon they're really good shouts, mate. Really good shouts.
Not too bad. I think looking at the comments, feel like Martin is back. Thanks for joining us again. I feel like Brock might win Bathurst, but we'll take the year. So that'll be that's one to watch.
That's horrendous. I don't want any Triple Eight taking out anything. Come on, man.
Mate, you're going to be struggling then. And then just touching on a few other things like the Red Bull Shane Van Gisbergen, which some of those livery things were from earlier. It's very true. We fired off a few things about that one earlier on. So that, I think, kind of closes out a little bit of supercar stuff. And, now let's switch gears, as they say, to F1. And let's have a little look at what's going on over in F1. Because there's been a busy, or even week since we spoke about from last week, there's been things going on. But, yeah, what's your take?
My take? Well, I think it has been an interesting sort of week. We've had the FIA impose strict swearing regulations.
You can get fucked.
Hey, fuck off. I think Martin Brundle's teed off on this. And he agrees that they shouldn't be swearing in press conferences and things like that. Agreed. Initially, my reaction was, oh, really? Fucking hell, are we really that, stitched up? But
yeah,
it's probably right. I think in those sort of scenarios, I don't care if they're swearing in the car, in the heat of the moment, anything like that. That's
the one that absolutely Val bounces me, blows my head gasket, whatever you want to use from a car point of view. Hey, F1 choose to broadcast that message, and then they're penalising the drivers in some cases. That is the most, that I've had a gut full of. They shouldn't be doing that. That's got to stop. Yes, I think in the press conferences they can control themselves.
Yeah. I agree. I think in the car it's completely different, and if they have a problem with it, then don't broadcast it.
Yeah, 100%.
Simple as that.
100%.
But yeah, I think when they're out of the car and it's a proper press conference and things like that, then yes, they definitely should probably keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
So and then the other thing that we've sort of had here is that Jack Doohan's got the most pressure any rookie has ever had in the existence of F1. This Calapinto signing and Mr. Briatore being a twat.
So, does he ever come into the field, like he's been absent for so many years, does he ever not have controversy or sparking something when he's involved with F1?
He's a Peter Addison.
Oh, yes.
He's in control of a team.
True.
Like that's the thing. So this is how I would assume Peter would go about his business as well. Sorry, Peter, if you ever see this. But yeah, like he just comes in and he just causes a shit stir. And look, I get it, right? It's a pressure cooker anyway, but I don't think you need to be adding that level of pressure this early on to Doohan's career. Just let him get in there, let him get settled. And I said it last week that I don't want to see guys getting turfed mid-year. You've made a decision to put the guy in the car.
Yeah.
You have to live with that consequence if it's not the right person.
Yeah, agree.
Right? That's your decision. Yeah. So that's just how I feel on it. But yeah,
I agree.
I feel for Jack.
I agree. And Supercars Mabini also said feels sorry for Jack Doohan. Like it's like what you don't want to see is maybe some things that are slightly out of his control, car issues, and somehow that's then accumulated into let's give Colapinto a go, and just basically destroying Jack, because if he doesn't have now I think the rumor or the talk is that it's like 5 sort of race Theo. He really needs that sort of 10. I know that's like it's almost halfway through the season, but just like a 10 race thing to kind of get him settled and not feel like he's just totally under pressure for every minute he's in the car.
Yeah, I mean, look at Oscar in his first year, right? Like the first half a year was a struggle. Like I know he had a couple of glimpses, and I'm sure Jack will do the same, but. You get crucified real quick if things go wrong. So I don't know. We'll just wait and see. It's in Jack's hands. Ultimately, he's got to hit the ground running now. If he puts up a case where he beats Gasly or is on Gasly's tail each and every race, then it makes it hard for them to drop him. But yeah, it's a tough ask for the kid. That's all. Yeah,
it is. It is. Well, moving to something that's had all the marketing buzz around it, all sorts of sponsor deals and this magnificent photo, which we touched on last week, but the Don, the Lewis Hamilton, my favourite Ferrari, the F40, in front of the famous Ferrari house.
Would have been better if it was a Testarossa.
Yeah, I know. But as they say, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and your Testarossa cake was superb.
It was magic.
He had a Testarossa cake for his milestone birthday a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, let's just keep it as a milestone birthday. We weren't actually.
I'm being kind.
That information. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
But yeah, Ferrari and Hamilton it's been a absolute social media spamming. It's all happening. Photos of him in his suits, mate, photos of him in the cars.
Can we just have a chat about the actual photo? Because
yes, the one I've got up.
Photo has 7 windows and a door.
Yep.
Do you reckon it's purposely done? Do you reckon they set out to make that, or do you reckon it's just beautiful coincidence that it's happened?
Well, I think it is coincidence because they can't change the house, right? But
true.
They did do another post which had like a kind of pit stop thing, which actually had the symbols of both Charles and Lewis's race numbers in silhouette. Yep. So, I'm sure that there was some thought once they realised that perhaps that was the way to go. And yeah, I think, we'll touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, it's just like the symbolism has been happening, and I guess the amazing photo, not quite as amazing as Jeremy Clarkson's rendition, which have a look on social media. It's worth a little bit of a laugh, but he tried to recreate this, the Don photo from Lewis. So
with a freaking Range Rover.
With a Range Rover, of course.
So good.
What else would he have?
I know. Unbelievable.
But
that's so good.
yeah, it's there. But yeah, I was just looking at the having a look at some of the comments as well. Yeah, the seven windows in the door. Yep.
Yep.
Let's hope. I think that would be a monumental achievement. And I'm really hoping that at least he can have a fruitful year. Because nothing would be worse than this move than him just like fledgling around in the top sort of 5 to 10 bracket. That would be a disaster.
Look, I think the win has already been had in the sense that Ferrari's stocks and everything else have just gone through the roof. But at the same time, if he is able to even fight for a championship, that'd be pretty special, I think. Even if he just fell short, it would be very special. But he's got a hard task with young Charles. So we'll just sit back and see how that works.
We will. And then I guess the last thing we kind of had in terms of a bit of an update in news was no one really official. I think the race actually covered it off just yesterday or something along those lines. But
they did.
There's lots of talk about this Aston Martin person that was going out to their sponsors saying, "We've signed Max. He's coming to Aston Martin. Get on board." It's like, whew, wow.
Big call.
Well, if you haven't got it, it's a massive call. But if you have got it, not sure that's the best way to kind of get things done because the news is going to break and it's going to get out there. But it has been squashed by most people where it's more of a we're trying to get him as opposed to, or we want to get him as opposed to actually having him already.
Yeah, that's correct. And I mean, look, it does kind of make sense. Honda's going there. You've got Adrian Newey there, and we know Adrian and Max get along really well.
Yeah.
So look, there's a lot of things that would be enticing for Max to swing that way. But at the same time, who goes? I mean, I know Alonso's at the end of his career, but if we're honest, it's not him who should be pushed out the door if Max turns up. So I see a few things that need to sort of happen in the background yet to make that all work. I did see, I think it was Autosport maybe, who are having a chat about it and saying that, it's definitely Alonso would get pushed if Max was to come across because, you want to see, Lawrence wants to see Lance win a championship. But I'm like, if Max comes,
he's not going to win.
He's not going to win.
You have the best car, and Max is still going to beat him. And that was the funny part that I thought was amusing because I think the race said the same thing as Autosport that it would be tough for Alonso and Max to be in the same team, right? But Lance, he's just not going to be beating Max in the same car. It just won't. So
nah, not at all. So no, we'll just wait and see, and when everything comes to light of what's actually happening, I'm sure we can have a bigger discussion about it. But very interesting times.
Very interesting times. All right. So I guess with that, we will kick off our top 3 for F1 things to watch.
Yeah.
And we covered off a little bit of some of these, but want to kick it off, mate?
Yeah, sure. I can kick it off. I'm always going to be watching this kid because, he is my favorite and I'm a patriot.
He's a Melbourne boy. Yep.
He's a Melbourne boy. That's it. OP, that next step, right? So I'm hoping to see that little extra pace that he needs in qualifying come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he can get that done, he'll be hard to beat, man.
Yeah.
Like just if he can be on the front row all the time, he'll have a great season. Not saying he's going to win a championship, but he'll have a great season.
Yeah.
And he'll make it very hard for Lando as well in that case. Pardon. Sorry about that, everyone.
Lovely.
Mute that one. Lewis and Ferrari. Can he win his 8th?
Yep.
Like that, or will we see, like we were talking about before, that Charles absolutely sort of annihilates him and he finishes his career. I don't know if we will see that, but I am looking forward to seeing if he can get that inner Lewis back and really put up a strong fight. Because can you imagine a Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris OP championship, like a 4-way fight?
Oh, that's a
That'd be nice.
spicy meatball.
Very good. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, and then the last thing is the Red Bull duo. Verstappen versus Lawson. Lawson talks a big game for a guy who has just arrived. So he's very confident.
Yep.
I'm glad he's confident. I like the kid. Let's just hope he can back it up and be able to at least be within a couple of tenths of Max.
Well, yeah, that's basically all he has to do to be better than Sergio. But you know, it's obviously that's also yeah, just a Q3 king. But like you know, Liam talks a big game, but you got to wonder. You know, Helmut Marko's already said to him, mate, your job is don't challenge Max, just be close to him, and you just got to think for drivers that are like, finally get their opportunity, like. Yes, you have to play the team game, but I just wonder if there's ever going to be that point where if he has that speed, whether something might just happen, and then we know what Max is like in those situations. So, if he's getting close to him, that'll be a huge win. That'll be great for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But enough of me talking about it. What about you, mate?
Sick of
top 3 things?
Sick of you talking. Yeah, no. So I thought I came in late and saw your points, and I was like, oh, okay, now I've got to actually use my brain. But we've got a couple of big ones. I will talk to, if it's a big year for Ferrari, they've obviously made this big marketing investment, driver investment, and, like it could be one of those disaster things. It has the potential to be a disaster, right? Something goes wrong with the car, they're not up the front anywhere. That could be a shocker. So, it's they need to lift. They need to be better than last year, and hopefully they can. And that'll be a big one. But one of the ones I thought was an interesting take was the rookies. I reckon there's going to be a bit of chaos this year. Think about qualifying and during the races with some of the accidents that were happening from rookies last year. And then we've got technically 6. They're still counting Liam Lawson because he hasn't done a full season, but really there's 5 rookies. Hadjar, Bortoletto, Antonelli, Bierman, and of course Doohan, who we've mentioned. So, that's a lot of rookies all sharing the same piece of racetrack.
Have we ever had that many rookies in F1 at once?
Oh, that's one to look into, but it must be close if it's not, because that's a huge number. It's a huge number. I just think strategy, especially qualifying, might be one to kind of get a time in early before something happens in Q3, or if someone gets through to Q2.
Come on, mate.
That's my tip.
They're not going to be as bad as Stroll driving into the gravel.
No, but yet Stroll is still there. And my third one was really about McLaren. They really have to take that next step. They have that pace. If they're going to give their drivers a chance at winning a championship and also retaining the constructors, they need to have that pace and that evolution of the car to remain up the front. So, it's a big year, because if they drop away as well, that's kind of like, okay, well, you've done all this work to get up and then you've just failed, when you're at the top or close to the top. So it'd be a disaster for their drivers if something went wrong with the new chassis, but fingers crossed, McLaren have got it under control. It feels like they should continue their pace, because everything they've been doing is going in the right direction, but definitely one to watch.
I think they're fairly safe now. A few years back, I probably would have said no, but everything they keep bringing to the cars in the last couple of years, particularly, has improved it. So I would hope that that keeps happening. The interesting thing was they had a slow start to last year, so it's whether they can get that car right from the outset.
Yep.
If they can get it right from the outset, then they'll have a great year.
They should have a great year.
But big shout to the rookie stuff, man, because that's something that I didn't really think about. And it's going to be interesting to see how they all go, specifically Antonelli in that Mercedes.
Yeah.
Against the
be
what
nice.
do you call George Russell these days? I'll be nice. I'll just call him George Russell.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed, bloody champion.
King.
Yep.
I'll be really interested because if that kid's got more pace than him, that'll be funny to watch.
Yeah. All right. Now, let's have a quick catch-up on some of the chats. 10
definitely.
races is good enough amount for doing. And I agree. Yeah, I reckon 10's a good number. It really gives you some up and downs to kind of manage out.
Definitely.
Jack, maybe go to Red Bull. Oof, that would be...
That's hard.
They've got a lot of drivers in that stack at Red Bull, but Jack's obviously in a tough position, so we'll see how he goes. What else do we got? Yeah, Michael's. Oh, it's from Michael's. So apparently the door thing or the window thing is because of Michael's 7. So there you go. I didn't know that.
There you go.
Wouldn't mind Max getting his 5th in a row like Lewis. Yeah, I mean that would obviously be a huge, just for him to continue to back up. It's it'd be an amazing feat for sure.
Do feel that's unlikely.
Ooh, you've got
some
spidey tinglies things going. You think it's done?
And it's not because of Max. I just kudos to Max. He's a phenomenal driver. But I just can't. I'm feeling what happened to Vettel is going to happen here.
Oh,
whereby
history repeating.
Yeah, it's just going to drop away for a little bit. Not to say that it won't come back and he won't win championships either there or elsewhere. But I feel like the domination of Red Bull might now be over.
Well, they'll definitely push last year, so we'll keep an eye on that. Impressive for Ferrari, having all the suits and sponsors sorted. Yeah, they were definitely on top of the marketing game. They knew it was going to be a big year for them, so they were on top of it. Williams have nothing. Yeah, a little behind. They've got some photos of Carlos arriving and Alex doing some work, but yeah, hopefully.
That'll be the other thing. That them bringing that up. I don't know who brought that up, but that'll be an interesting shout to see how Albon and Sainz go against each other.
Yeah, it will be. I sort of get the feeling that Sainz might end up on top of that little team battle. Personally,
I agree with that. But yep.
Aston need to back the juniors that they have in the ranks. Sign the best talent. Well, there's this bottleneck, but I totally agree. Aston should be doing more with it. With who they have in their drivers.
These bloody junior setups. I know what they're for. Don't feel they work.
No.
Like more often or not, the kids don't get through, or if they do get through, they're like just thrusted straight into a stupid position, and they either fly or they fail. I mean, look, you're going to do that in F1 anyway, but
true.
I just don't know. Yeah, I think something probably needs to be done to fix that up somewhat.
I'd hate to be in F2 or F3 right now because with all these rookies that have come in, unless all of them fail, you're not getting a shot at an F1 seat for at least that sort of, there's probably 1 or 2 available, but we've got so many drivers. Yeah, it's going to be tough being in that junior rank pool at the moment.
I'd be doing what Liam Lawson did and going off to, what was it, not Super GT, the Formula,
Fuji,
Super Formula?
Yeah, Formula
whatever
stuff.
it is in Japan, doing something like that instead, and then trying to line it up for a year that you can get through. Because I agree, with so many rookies in there, I mean, arguably some might get kicked out, but more often than not, they're going to stay in there for a bit.
Yep, and then we've got surely Oscar will close the gap to Lando. Yeah, I think he's got the mental capacity. We talked about that last week. We think that'll happen. Lawson should follow Doohan's approach and stay quiet. let the driving do the talking. Yeah.
I take it you don't like Lawson's mouth.
I mean, with F1, my take is always I have no problem with them having, a big mouth if they back it up. But
Back it up.
yeah, when
Yep.
you see certain people who can't back it up, then it's just like, shut up, mate, get on with your drive. Interesting to go from no changes in driver lineups 23-24 and then 24-25 big change. Yeah, there was a lot that's happened there. And no way Antonelli is faster than George. No, I wouldn't think so.
You'd hope not, but I mean, didn't you hear Toto at Monza? But did you see how much speed he took into that corner when he lost it?
That was the most ridiculous statement, just to segue a little bit, where he was like, but he carried, I think he said like 5 or 6 kilometers more than anybody else in that corner. It's like, yeah, that's why he came out of Parabolica and went into the, anyway. We'll let that one go.
That was so good. That was the best call of the year.
So let's now look at just some news that's been happening. Just a few items as we close out this episode.
Yes,
so Daytona 24 Hour.
Yeah, so Penske secured another win.
Yep.
In their Porsche 963.
Porsche.
Yep. So Porsche, we all like a Porsche here.
We do.
So the number 7 of Felipe Nasser and Lawrence Vanthor and Nick Tandy took the win.
Yep.
Matt Campbell was actually leading with about 35 or 40 minutes to go. But he faded fast. He even got, I can't remember who came second. That's bad. It was Scott Dixon. I should have had it up.
Yeah.
Scott Dixon. Hang on, I might actually be able to find it now. Give me a minute. It was the Akira Mayashank Racing car, and it was Tom Blunkvist.
Oh,
I can't say his name.
Yeah, Blinkvist.
They didn't actually label the other two drivers, but I know one was Scott Dixon. So, so they finished second, and then obviously Matt Campbell and crew came third.
Nice.
Ford had their first Mustang victory in IMSA. Winning the GTD Pro class.
Yep.
Dennis Olsen, I think it was Dennis Olsen.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly read one. Yep. And also I think it was Christopher Mees and Frederick Vervich. I have not pronounced that right.
That was good.
But yep, we'll take that. And we also had the Chevrolet Corvette take their first win in just the GTD class.
Yes.
So that was the Tower. No, that was the LMP2 guys.
Yeah.
They didn't label them, man. Why did they label them?
So many categories.
So many categories in that series, in that race. But it was a good race. I watched the last hour.
Yep.
And it was quite cool to watch. If you could do that race in real life, it'd be pretty cool to do. So, but yeah, congratulations to all the winners there. So that was a pretty cool one. And I guess
closer to home.
Closer to home, we have the Bathurst 12-hour, mate.
Yeah.
We've had a slight setback, though.
We've had a few years, basically since COVID, where we've really struggled to get some of the numbers for that field. But yeah, what was it? 111
racing.
So,
yeah.
And then
they've had to withdraw.
Withdraw due to sponsorship. Man.
Yeah. So the sponsors who said they were coming through for them never did. And they had to withdraw as a result. They did say they'll be back for next year, however. But somebody else I was listening to was talking about the fact that there's a lot of races around this time of year now.
Yeah.
More so than what it was prior to COVID, which is making it really difficult to get people to come over. Because, Australia at the end of the day is a pimple on the arse end of the earth. And it's a long way to come.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they need to do, whether they need to think about changing times or I don't know. But, it would be good to see it back to what it was getting to, sort of like in the 2018-19 races. Because they were ding-dong races to watch. So really,
big,
really cool.
Especially so many different cars, Bentleys and, AMGs, BMW. There was just so much happening. So, yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, but fingers crossed, the race is still a good one. It's always a good one if you ever get the chance in Australia to go to it. It's worthwhile, but
Definitely. Make sure
hopefully,
you've got aircon somewhere.
yeah, it's a hot time of year. Yep. And I guess on that, the 12-hour is going to be showcased on 7 Plus as well as KO Sports. So if you are at home, lots of opportunity to be able to watch that race, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I think that probably wraps it up, doesn't it, mate?
Oh, I think it might just do that, actually. Nothing else for us to go through. Appreciate everybody who has attended.
Did we have more this week? I mean, we had one last week. What did we get to this
I
week?
think we got 8 views. Yeah, I think we had 2 sort of in the chat, which was good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the love.
Yeah, well, that's good. Fingers crossed that all the recording, everything went well. So thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. If you do like it, make sure you subscribe or hit the like button. Share it with friends. But other than that, I think we're done. We'll see you.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So
2
we'll
weeks,
see you
guys.
then. All right.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.